G'day everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's Turbo Tristan here, and today we are going to be finishing buttoning up the RB30 for the VL, and I'm going to remove all that bird's nest of wires because we've got the HALTECH loom to go in there, and I'm going to start to get rid of all of the different tabs and things that we don't need in the engine bay, smooth it out, not quite show car, not quite shaved or tucked, but just neatened up, tidied, scuffed back, ready for paint. So today we're going to do that. I've got a couple of other projects which I might tackle on my EK Civic over there. It's making some rattles from the exhaust that I made. So we'll get to that soon. Stick around and I'll show you where we got to. Behind me over here is the RB30. I've done some painting, I've done some tidying up, and I've done some buttoning up. As mentioned in the last video, we got my mate Zach and his dad Colin to bead blast all of that stuff ready for paint. So they've done the rocker cover and the intake manifold. I've since gone ahead and painted it the matching custom pearl that the original paint is on the VL. So it's the original paint with a little bit of spice in there. I've also painted the Rajab Racing intake plenum, and I've buttoned all of that up, put on these anodized fittings. They came with this motor when I picked it up, so we're going to use those. They look pretty cool. So it's all coming together. We have the RACEWORKS fuel rail on there with the RACEWORKS 1150cc injectors. They're E85 compatible. The great thing about this is there are all different ports where you can run different fittings. So I've actually blocked them up. We're just going to go a pretty basic one in and out on the fuel rail. This one though allows you to run pressure gauges, pressure lines, pressure sensors. You can have a center feed or a center exit. You could have feeding in from both ends, which would be ideal. So you have a Y piece somewhere over there, splits around, and then forcing the fuel in this side, forcing the fuel in this side, and then have a line out of here for your regulator. That would be the ideal if you're going for maximum horsepower. But for us, we're just going to get it running nice. It's going to make tons of power anyway. So it's nice for how it is now. And then you've got another port for sensors and different things. So at the moment, we're just going to go -6 in, -6 out, run those injectors. But yeah, I think you'll agree that looks pretty mint. We've got the rocker breathers on, also from RACEWORKS. I've got to button up all of the water lines and oil lines for the turbo. I've already put the oil drain in, so we're going to try and get that sorted today as well. And yeah, she is ready to rock and roll in the car, but the car's not ready to take it yet. So just got to put on these covers. But I've chucked the leads on, chucked all the accessories on, all the belts on. They're not tight at all, but they're just on there, so it's easier to get to once it's in the car. Fuel rails on. I do need to get some O-rings for right down in there. They're not quite right. I've lost the original ones out of the intake manifold, which is I think what I need. And I've put a couple of the HALTECH sensors in, water temp sensor. I do need to get a bigger tap and die to tap this out. Mine only goes up to M12. We need some M14 taps in the back of that for a couple of additional HALTECH sensors. And down here we have the HALTECH loom, all terminated. We've got the LS1 coil kit, wideband, Elite 2500. Check this out, comes with its own billet anodized mounting bracket, which we'll just simply put that on once the engine is in the car. That goes there. This guy's in the road. We just use that to put everything in. So that goes on there. LS1 coil, boom, all the power, HALTECH things. It's going to be awesome. I've put some of the Dash 10 breathers on just for now. I do have a catch can, which I'm probably going to make a mount and a bracket and somewhere and put that, I don't know where, but out of the way on this side. You don't want to put your catch can on the side known as the hot side, because oil lines, oil vapors, you don't want that on your exhaust, melting, burning, catching fire. That's why the fuel stuff's on this side too. So once that's in the car, we'll come up with a solution for that. I'm really procrastinating and putting off jumping over there and taking out that loom and getting stuck into sanding that. We are going to keep the battery here in the front. I don't see any reason to move it into the back this stage. We'll see how we go with intercooler pipes, etc. But yeah, we'll just play that one by ear. 3 weeks later. We are back on the VL Turbo project. It's been a while. We got sidetracked with yet another project. I know I do it all the time, but it's pretty much done. We have tracked it. There's a video coming on that if it's not already out by the time you see this one. But I've taken some time off work. I need to get this car done. It's taken up space. We've got to get it done. Boosting, fluttering, dosing, and then it's for sale because we got to do more Honda stuff and we got to get spool up cranking. So we got to reinvest back into the business and the channel. So I'm going to get this painted. I've already thrown a quick coat of primer on there. Now I'm going to sand this down smooth with some 600 and then start to throw some paint on there. I've already got the paint mixed up. And yes, I'm doing it rattle can respray style. I've had heaps and heaps of success with engine bays with the rattle can. Acrylic base coat, 2K clear, comes up so glossy, so durable and hard wearing. It's going to be perfect on this. So I'm going to get that done. Another tip that I recently learned from a guy at work, Liam, thanks heaps mate, wrap everything in tin foil. Makes it much easier. Instead of taping everything and running plastic bags and stuff, you can just pretty much grab it, crunch it on, and it stays exactly where you left it. Now I'm just going to jump into the sanding prep and then get it painted. I'll show you what it looks like in just a moment. You guys don't have to wait a whole day to see it. Be coming right up. It's much later on. The sanding's been done, cleaned. Base coat is on, top coat clear is on. Nice and thick, nice and glossy. That's going to dry rock hard and it's going to make sure that the engine bay is absolutely spotless and a showpiece. Once again, shout out to Complete Auto Paints in Springvale for hooking me up with the pressure pack cans, 2K clear. This is the one here that I used, U-Pole 2K clear, and they mixed up the color absolutely perfect. I'm going to give this around about 5 minutes just to flash off. Not that that's going to do anything, but I'm going to start to peel off a lot of that masking tape and get rid of all that stuff there so it doesn't leave a thick line. So it sort of blends in together. So when I clean it up later on, there shouldn't be a noticeable difference where the old and the new paint is, or the new and the newer paint is. Fast forward a couple of days, the engine bay is painted. Right behind me here, the engine is ready to come off the stand and go in the car. I really want to get this in the car and done today. It's Saturday. I've taken 3 days off work. I want to get this buttoned up and get it back in the car. I've still got to freshen up the transmission and shove that in and get that ready to rock and roll. It's time to get the automatic transmission, the 4N71B Jatco, in the car. Before we do that, we've got to put the TCE torque converter in there. Now this one has a $3,000 stall converter. TCE did me a pretty special deal. They gave me sort of a custom one. I didn't want the full 3,000 stall converter. It's just a little bit under. When the engine was at the machine shop at Silvia Race Engines, they've gone and balanced the flex plate, everything to the crank, to the engine. It's a fully balanced engine. I've torqued these up to spec, which is 152 Newton meters. So they're all good. Brand new rear main seal, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, I'm just gonna start to figure out how to get that up into there, put that in there, and then we're off and racing. Once this bit's done and put back in the car, I can then put the tail shaft back in, and then it's just all little fiddly stuff buttoning up inside the engine. I've refurbished the fuel tank as best as I can, which means cleaning out any rust scale inside there, drying it out, giving it a nice fresh coat of CRC, rust proofing. A couple of days have passed, the engine is in the car, alloy radiator, all the radiator hoses. I've relocated the power steering over to the other side, so we've got room to run an intercooler pipe. I'm probably going to go out here and either under there and around, or just straight down there, and I'll run a big thermo fan just here. I've mounted the RACEWORKS fuel pressure reg. We've got all the RACEWORKS gear on there. I've mounted up the RACEWORKS 3-port boost controller over there on its little billet bracket. Everything's looking mint. And before you guys jump in the comments, there is a reason why I haven't shown a lot of this build, and that is because you don't seem to really care about it or like it too much, which is weird considering this is Australia's most popular, iconic, cult, classic car. Anyway, this is going to be a ripper. Next video will be intercooler pipes, buttoning up the fittings, doing the fuel systems. We got RACEWORKS fuel pumps, all to replace in the car, change a few lines, a few fittings, run the HALTECH ECU, run the wiring, get all that done, fill up the transmission, fill up the engine, fill up the radiator, and get cooking. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to spool up, bring the boost. If you want to see more of this, share the video, comment below what you love about it, why you like VLs, if you even like VLs, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.